Today, for this video, I'm joined by Anthony Pritchard from Storm Geomatics. Hi, Anthony. Thanks for taking a bit of time to have a chat today.
Okay.
To start with, could you just give us a bit of background on Storm as a whole, as the company, and then the area or areas that you use SurvAid in?
Yeah, sure. So we are a land survey company that operates around the sort of inshore hydrographic market. We do topographic surveys as well and other top forms of surveys, but most of our work is based around water. We install a lot of control stations as part of our work, which is sort of all over the UK and surrounding islands. And for each project, we always install control. Depends on what the client requires or the specification used, but there's normally a number of control stations to be installed, and yeah, that's a sort of an overview of what we do and how we would and how we would use install control stations.
And I was just having a look before we did this about back through our emails, and there's something there going back all the way to 2016. So I know I've been working together for a while. I don't know if you're able to cast your mind back to way back when before then, and remember like what would be the process for recording the details of these control stations that you install on site, and then producing the deliverables from them.
So yeah, way back then. So we'd have a template card on site. We're always working in pairs of 2s or 3s on site. So we'd be on site. We would have a card template with several boxes to fill out and an area to draw. So we'd manually draw up. We'd install our control station, take our observations, whatever, and then we would draw up paper and pencil essentially, and take the measurements. So we're completing the drawing in a plan view, drawing it onto and sketching onto the sheet, trying to make it look, it's got enough information there to be recognisable. Obviously, there's a photo accompanies that, but it takes probably 10 minutes to draw up a control station on site. So that's how we used to do it. When you bring it, and then bringing that back into the office, you would be transferring all of that data to a template and a Word template. So it's that transfer of data which would take a lot of time in the office. So probably up to 30 minutes, I would say 20-30 minutes in the office, because you're drawing that we were drawing that the sketch up in CAD, so they're drawing it in CAD. So that would take a few minutes. Then there's the transfer of all the data, so you're typing everything in again. But obviously, you're open to more mistakes and errors there. Sometimes somebody else may be using your drawing and your information, so there's that possibility of information being lost in the translation there.
Okay. So is that the surveyors themselves that go back into the office and type this stuff up, or did you have kind of separate office-based staff to do that?
No, so all our surveyors process their own work. So assistants also assist with that process. So it would be a surveyor or a varying role, senior surveyor, junior surveyor, or an assistant could be processing those documents.
Okay, and I'm sure it varies, but did you have an idea of roughly how many of these control stations you'll install a month?
So normally we are installing between 20 and 30, I think it is, on average. Although the last 3 months we've installed 90 for each month for the last 3 months, because we've had a couple of large particular projects where we've been visiting gauging stations and installing control at small sites multiple times. So on our normal month, working on 20 control stations, we're just to tally it up, we're saving about 2.6 hours in site time. So there's 2 people on site always, sometimes 3. So you can see the costs there. And then that's sort of 12 hours processing time. If we looked at 90 hours a month, 90 control stations a month, we'd be looking at just over 8 hours of site time taken up drawing those control stations, working with, based on 10 minutes. And then, we'd be looking at a week's worth of processing for somebody in the office. Yeah. So the last 3 months, we've essentially saved 3 weeks of office work.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so how does the process look now compared to writing it out all on paper and then manually typing it all in?
So obviously you've got your app on the phone. So you install your control station, and you are taking a series of photos, well, a couple of photos in case I haven't used it myself in a long time. A couple of photos, and then as you take the measurements, you are using arrows and little text boxes on the app to fill in the data. So it obviously automates the position. You can add in the position, different notes and address details and location information whilst you're there, whilst you're doing it. So it all goes in once. You've got your photos, you've got your measurements, which it draws arrows for. You used to drag the arrows out onto the screen, so it's very intuitive, very simple to use, and it's saved. And obviously, if it's pouring with rain, it doesn't really matter. You haven't got soggy paper anywhere and struggling to write if you're using a SurvAid book, which obviously works in the rain, but obviously still isn't brilliant. So yeah, it's really quick and simple, and you can put as much or as little information on at that time, and obviously you can retrospectively go back into it and add further information in. So you might want to just take, if it was pouring with rain, you could just take the photo and the measurements, go back into the car, sit there and add in additional data, and then you obviously save it and you can upload it, and obviously once it's uploaded to your portal, you can still edit it there. So that's what we normally do. So we upload it when we're out on site. We've looked it over, upload it to the portal. Once we're back in the office, we process our control station to get our final coordinates, and go back into the portal, go into that control station, edit the data, add in everything we wanted exactly, and then export. And obviously you've got your own templates in there. So there's Environment Agency templates for E1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you've got I think we've got NRW template in there as well, and we've got our own template in there just for sort of general control stations. But it's also good for other things. Sometimes there's we can use it for just taking a picture of a level staff on a gauge board and drawing up that gauge board in the same manner. So it gets a lot of use, and there's a few different things you can do with it. But
right, so you've even adopted it for some other purposes as well.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, brilliant.
So yes, it's simple and effective, and obviously saves us a lot of time.
Excellent. And I remember when we started to work together, I think there was kind of certain surveyors that trialed it out and got to grips with it initially, and then once you kind of field tested it and stuff like that and decided that you were going to use it going forward, it then got rolled out across the wider team. So I was wondering, like, what was the reception of the other surveyors kind of when being presented with this new way of doing things, as opposed to the paper that everybody's been using for ages? How did everybody find it and get on with it?
It's like anything. Nobody likes change, really. And it at the time, I think you were quite. The app was quite new. We'd only just met you, so yeah, I think we rolled out to a couple of guys and said, "Look, you use it, test it." I think we gave you that feedback. there was a few minor things that needed just changing and adjusting. And then obviously once we were happy with it, we rolled it out, and the uptake was, you know, instantaneous. There was no, you know, there was no pushback at all, because it was very obvious and clear the savings that could be made, the ease of its use. Obviously, it's, you know, you're much further down the line now with it. I mean, if I was receiving it now, having, you know, you've got the history behind it, I would look at it, have a go myself with it, go, well, that's, you know, that's a no-brainer, and just push it out, and that, you know, and you could just push it out straight away to everybody. It's not even, you know, it's not even an issue. And I mean, that comes with new people joining the company. Obviously, I can go part of their induction. I go onto the portal, go to team members, invite a new team member, so they just get a link straight to their phone, and they're up and running, you know, straight away. So again, I've not heard of anybody coming back going, oh, this doesn't, don't like this, don't like that, that doesn't work very well, you know. So it's all new users are picking it up all the time, and using it and running with it. So yeah, it's really simple and straightforward to pick up and learn. It's like lots of things. It's a bit like our own software. If you know where you're going with it, you know you're trying to get from how to get to A to B. It's very intuitive to do that process, to get to that process from the start to the finish. So yeah.
Yeah, like from my end, I don't often hear much from you guys asking for any support or anything like that. So usually in software, if it's no news is good news. If you're not, nobody's getting in touch with you, everything's working as it should, and everybody's happy. So that's good to hear. And then
get the odd user error, but
well, yeah, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
And so how's that affected your kind of workflows and processes with this increased productivity then, if you don't have as much back office processing to do, because it's all just uploaded to the portal, and then you can create the witness diagrams there? Does that kind of free you up to do more work per surveyor?
Yeah, I mean, it's like most of the time, you don't, until you look at it like I've looked at it to have this chat with you, you don't, although you know you're saving time and money at the outset, because you know that's why you're doing it. But when you actually pull it apart and look at some figures, it's like, oh, I'm saving quite a bit of time here. And it's not just the time you're saving. It's, you know, there's a week. So what have we got there for those last 3 months? It's a week, a month for someone in the office. Now that's not just the time they've saved. It's the time that time they've saved, but they are working on another project. So it's like it's time saved is double time essentially, isn't it? So you know, it's just fantastic to see time savings like that, and the added value of it as well. Obviously, you've got the transfer of data is seamless, and you know, you're not rewriting very much stuff. You're adding to it, adding your final coordinates to the information. So you've removed some of the possible errors in that transfer as well. So yeah, I mean, it's just fantastic for what we need it for.
Brilliant. That's what we'd like to hear. All right. Well, thanks very much for going through all that, and it's nice for me to hear how it's all doing what it's supposed to do, basically, the software. So I think we'll leave it at that. Thanks for taking some time. Nice to catch up, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon.
Cheers, Jimmy. Thank you. All the best.
Yes, thanks.